Hi guys, welcome back to y'all hearing this. My name is Kay. Thank you so much for coming and joining us over here on Patreon. I'm excited we're getting into another lore episode. Today we're going to explore Red Velvet. So I found a person called Bookish Theories on YouTube who has actually quite a bunch of different artists. So I'm going to go through their videos. So they actually have quite a few for Red Velvet. So we're going to do about half of them tonight. I think it was through Queendom was the list here. Let me take a look. Yeah, so Psycho parts 1 and 2, Queen's Archives, something kind of crazy, and then Queendom. And then we'll finish up what they have another time. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this one. I really love, especially after watching Chill Kill, I'm super interested to like learn a little bit more about it. So anyway, without any further ado, I'm gonna shush. Let's watch.
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video I would like to talk about Red Velvet Psycho, and this is gonna be part 1 of a 2-part series about the song. In part 1 I'm gonna focus on a little breakdown and analysis of both the lyrics and the music video, while in part 2 I'm gonna talk about how the song is actually connected to Zimzalabim and Oompa Oompa. Now, Psycho is a very interesting song because after years of seeing Red Velvet hunting down pizza delivery boys, bad boys, and really bad boys, the girls finally admit that they're actually psychos, even if very cute ones at that. On a general level, the song describes a very obsessive and toxic relationship. At the beginning, the song opens with the girls wondering what they should do about this unstable situation. On the one hand, the relationship they are singing about is a source of uncontrollable feelings that makes them wish to escape the game they've been forced to play. But on the other, the love they feel is so strong that makes them act like psychos. People say that they are weird for acting the way they do, that even if they look cute together, this love is not gonna last. But they don't care, because despite all the troubles, they're having a lot of fun with that. In the song, the girls themselves admit that this relationship is a very strange one.
This is the first time we heard
beautiful
by them.
and sad. First they crush each other and then they hug. One moment they fight and the next they get along. But while at times they don't know what to do, the lyrics suggest that the side of them that wants to surrender to this love eventually takes over. The focus here is on the contrast between what they should do and what they want to do. On a rational level, they know that the love they feel has a negative influence on them, but at the same time, they want to embrace it because being a psycho is actually a part of them. Even if this love is a source of trouble, it's also what allows them to free themselves and be who they really are. And because of that, they feel that everything will be alright. On a thematic level, Psycho is the perfect finale of the Revel Festival. As we see in part 2, the concept of the trilogy is a celebration of the red and velvet sides of the girls finally coming together as one. So the song can be read as them falling victim of a twisted love story, but also as an inner conflict between different sides of themselves trying to prevail over the other.
Gotcha.
It's
Oh,
the
that's
red
cool.
side versus the velvet side, and in Psycho, the velvet side seems to be the winning one. Even if the lyrics imply otherwise, in the video the girls are much more in control than what it looks like. And the imagery used in the MV seems to confirm this as well. Throughout the video, for instance, both Irene and Joy are seen sitting in the driver's seat of a car, which is something that implies that they are in control of the direction they are taking. But most importantly, all of them are associated with weaving and sewing. At the beginning, Sulgi is sitting in front of a loom, which is a machine used for weaving. Halfway through the video instead, we see the girls using sewing machines, while later on there's Joey cutting a thread with a pair of scissors.
A red thread.
This imagery may look pretty harmless, but in reality it holds a huge symbolic significance.
The fates,
Weaving
maybe?
and sewing are activities that are usually associated with femininity and traditional ideas of womanhood. But the thread is often used as a symbol of fate. So the fact that Red Velvet are weaving and sewing implies that they're literally weaving the thread of their own story. They are in charge of their own destiny and they decide the pattern of their narrative, even if sometimes it can be dangerous. The contrast between the apparent innocence of their activities and the real meaning behind them here is completely intentional, because it plays with the idea that Red Velvet have two different sides to themselves. At first glance, they look cute and harmless, but this is an illusion because the real them are actually psychos. This is very coherent with the general narrative that we've been presented in their past videos as well. In the story, the girls seem to play the role of a coven of witches. So even if they are often portrayed as innocent, it's also true that they hide a more dangerous side that comes to the surface when you least expect it. And in Psycho, this side of them is the one that takes over. If you look closely, while their outfits play a lot with the idea of good versus evil, the girls are often seen whispering to each other. This is a reference to a similar scene in Bad Boy, but the secrets they are trying to keep from us here is their true nature.
Bad Boy.
Much like what we saw in Peekaboo, for instance, in Psycho the girls play the role of the victim, but in reality they are the masterminds. In the video, we see the girls in a dressing room surrounded by mirrors. This is important because the location implies that they are getting ready for a performance. And sure enough, later on we see Joey and Wendy in a train carriage and wearing the same outfits. Now, in contrast to the car, which symbolizes control, the carriage suggests a lack of control because they are not the ones driving the train. But this is fake because what we see here is them playing a role they've been preparing for. As we see in the scene where Sugi is in front of the mirror, the two sides of them, that is the red side and the velvet side, are two separated entities. One is the reflection of the other, but they don't act at the same time, because one side plays the role of the prey, while the other plays the role of the predator. Like the butterflies symbolize, the girls transform themselves according to the circumstance. But when we get to the bridge of the song, something interesting happens. In the lyrics, the girls say that they should not look back and just be who they are. And right after, we see Sulgi's reflection starting to move in sync with the real one. While the butterflies multiply and fly over Irene and her reflection, Wendy whispers to Sulgi as the lyrics say that people think they look cute together. This is a bit of a meta moment that implies that the love they are singing about is the one they feel for one another. Being together makes their witchy side come to the surface, even if it's usually kept hidden. But that's okay, because this is who they really are. So that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Alright, I'm ready
and
for
if you
part
did,
2.
please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, I would like to continue my explanation theory about Red Velvet Psycho, focusing on the ways in which the song may be connected to Zimzalabim and Oompa Oompa. Now, in order to understand how songs so different can be seen as part of the same story, the first thing that we need to do is to understand the concept they're going for here. Zimzalabim, Oompa Oompa and Psycho are the title tracks of a trilogy called the Reeve Festival. And right off the bat, this is very telling because the word Reeve is actually a pun. On the one hand, it is a mix of the words red and velvet, which implies that the concept is a celebration of the red side coming together with the velvet side of the girls. This idea seems to be confirmed by the Day One album cover as well, which shows an amusement park that gives a lot of nods to their past songs. The idea here is that the girls are inviting you to their world in order to have fun with them and thanks to them. And the Zimzalabim MV reflects this concept by showing the girls both working at the park and actually visiting it. The title, however, could be read in a different way as well, because the word rêve is spelled very similar to the French word rêve, which means dream or wish.
Gotcha.
Now, if we consider this view in the light of the concept of the trilogy as a whole, then the Red
That's actually
Velvet
how I was
Festival
pronouncing it
can
in
also
my
be
head
seen
anyway.
as a dream festival.
Rev.
That is, as a celebration of the two sides coming together that happens in a timeline that is connected to the rest of the story but can also be seen as an illusion. In their past videos, it has been established that the girls have a bit of a darker side to them. In the story, they seem to be part of a coven of witches, and even if they often look pretty harmless, when the velvet side comes to the surface, they become very dangerous. The duality they're showing their music videos is very fitting with the witch archetype, because in many stories belonging to children's fiction and the fairy tale tradition, the character of the witch is often portrayed as someone who is able to hide their true identity in order to attract their victims. Characters like the witch from Hansel and Gretel and the white witch from the Chronicles of Narnia are perfect examples of what I'm saying, because at first they are introduced as nice ladies who just want to feed the children they interact with, and only later they reveal their true nature. With Red Velvet, we see something similar happen in Peekaboo, for instance, and the fact that in their music videos the girls are often associated with food kinda confirms that this is the concept they are going for here. But what does it have to do with Simsalabim, Oompa Oompa and Psycho? Well, if we take a closer look at the lyrics, it turns out that when we put the songs in order, they tell a very similar story to the ones that we could find in a children's book. At first, the girls present themselves as helpful guides who want to improve the life of those they interact with. Then we see the narrative gradually shifting by introducing the first warning that something sketchy is actually taking place. And finally, we see the girls revealing their true self. This structure falls perfectly in line with many stories of the fairy tale tradition. But what is truly interesting and original about all of this is that in the Reef Festival, the girls play the role of both the witch and the victim. Let's begin with Simsalabim to see what I mean. Now, Simsalabim is a song that perfectly conveys the mix between the red and velvet sides of the girls. Even if the song has a very upbeat rhythm and the overall concept is very colorful and playful, the underlying vibe of the lyrics and the MV suggests that something darker is going on. As the title itself suggests, the song is about the girls inviting the audience to cast a spell that leads them to happiness. The lyrics here play on the idea that casting the Simsalabim spell is able to free your true self and leave everything else behind. And on a general level, this is a very positive message. The point of the song is that you have the power to find your own happiness and be whoever you want to be, no matter the difficulties that you faced in the past. But if we look at it in the context of the storyline, then Simsalabim acquires a whole new meaning. As I mentioned earlier, the video shows the girls playing a double role. On the one hand, they are the visitors of the park who enjoy the rides, but on the other, they also work at the park. This is important because their double role implies that one side of them is in control while the other is being controlled. My guess is that the velvet side, which is the witchy and more dangerous one, is trying to take over the red side, who is more innocent and completely unaware of what's going on. Much like what happens in fairy tales and children's books, the velvet side is initially portrayed as very friendly. At first, everything is fine and all of them are having fun, but as the video progresses, the rides become more and more dangerous and the video becomes more flashy and confused. Some of the props that are used here, as well as the way the video is shot, suggest that the red side is being hypnotized. And if we take into account the lyrics in this context, they imply that the velvet side invited the red one to follow them into their world. They convinced them to cast a spell with the promise of finding happiness, and even if at the beginning the promise had some truth to it, later on it is implied that it was all an illusion. This actually brings us back to the connection I made between the Reef Festival and the dream concept. Even if the velvet side promised happiness, in the video we see that once the red side got hypnotized, they actually fell asleep. And in the bridge, we hear Wendy that says that the dream is actually inside of
perfect
us.
use of
On
that
a
meme.
general level, this implies that the happiness they are promising was actually inside of us all along. But in the context of the storyline, this idea has a darker subtext. It means that while the velvet side is in control, the red side is living in a dream. And sure enough, this is exactly what happens in Oompa Oompa. Now, Oompa Oompa is yet another song that, if taken out of context, looks completely harmless. The title is a reference to an exercise that in South Korea people use to teach children to keep their breath underwater. And the music video shows the girls going on vacation and trying to have fun despite the bad weather. Like many of their summer songs, Oompa Oompa focuses on the red side of the girls. But in this case, this is not reality. This is them being trapped in the dream Zimzalabim put them in. This idea seems to be confirmed by both the lyrics and the music video. At the beginning, the song opens with Sulgi giving us a warning because she's seen many people already falling and never coming out of the water. In the song, the girls use drowning as a metaphor for falling in love. But if we see the warning in the context of the storyline, then what Sugi is referring to here is actually their magic. In the past, there have been many people who fell under their spell and never came out of it. They saw them struggling and suffocating, and they hope that you're different from them, even if this concern is actually a fake one. Much like what happened in Zimzalabim, in Oompa Oompa they pretend to be helpful, but in reality they are the ones who are letting you drown. Their objective is to keep their victims under their spell by giving the impression that that's their choice to do so. And in the video we see exactly that. As I mentioned earlier, the world we see here is a fake one. And this idea is further reinforced by the fact that the external locations are not real places but set designs. You would think that SM has enough money to shoot on location, but they chose not to, and this is very telling, I think. In the video, the main plot is set inside of a house, and as time goes by, we see the girl's situation getting worse and worse. In the meantime, however, we also see another version of them dancing happily on the fake beach. In this case, the weather is fine and they're having fun, but these two versions are once again different sides of them coming together. The girls we see in the house are the red ones, that is, those who are stuck in the dream, while the others are the velvet ones, who enjoy the illusion because they are the ones who created it in the first place.
I am not in any way, shape, or form
is actually revealed during the bridge, where we see the velvet Irene actually appearing in front of the red Irene on the stage. To me, this confirms that what we are seeing is fake and that one side of them is actually playing a trick on the other. The reason why the red side doesn't realize it is because, as the lyrics say, they forgot about what happened. And this is why the red side eventually chooses to stay in the house even when the weather gets better. Here they have the opportunity to escape, but they choose not to because they've drowned in the magic of the velvet side. They've been conquered by the love spell they put them in back in Zimzalabim. And even if the promise of happiness is now fulfilled, this happiness is only an illusion. This leads us to Psycho. Now, as I said in part 1 of this series, Psycho is a song that's fundamentally about the girls willingly surrendering to a toxic love. The relationship they're singing about here is a very difficult one. They want to resist it, but the temptation is just too strong. And in the context of the storyline, the song represents the perfect finale to the trilogy. In Zimzalabim, the red side was seduced. In Oompa Oompa, they drowned in the love spell they unwillingly cast on themselves. And in Psycho, they eventually accepted and let the velvet side take over. Now, since we are talking about different sides of the same people actually interacting with one another, it's very difficult to say if this is a happy ending or not. If we follow the witch archetype I mentioned earlier, the fact that the velvet side overpowered the other should be seen as something negative. But at the same time, both Zimzalabim and Psycho focus on the idea of freeing their true self and be who they really are. And this is inherently positive. It means that the Reef Festival brought the two sides together and now they are finally united. And in Psycho, we kind of see this through the imagery that is being presented.
Yeah.
As I said in part 1, there are many hints that the Velvet side was always the more powerful one, even if it was kept hidden. The red side was possibly an illusion in and of itself, but now it's over because their true self is actually revealed. Even if in the lyrics the girls say that they don't play the game, in reality they've been playing it all along.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, this is something they actually enjoy. The relationship the two sides
I
have
didn't
with one
realize that like
another
the
is
red and
very
velvet sides, like I
strange
knew
and
their
weird.
songs had
They
that
know
kind
it
of like
and now they
duality,
accept
but I didn't
it
realize it was
because
kind
they're
of like a
psychos
lore
and
thing
everything will
too.
be okay. So that's it from me today. I hope you
That's
guys
cool.
enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about Red Velvet, something kinda crazy, focusing on a little breakdown of the video to see what it can tell us about the possible
Do not
concept
think
of
I've
their
seen this
upcoming
one either.
comeback. Now, at the beginning of the week, Red Velvet released the first video of a week-long project called Queen's Mystic General Store. This is a promotional event that is gonna focus on a series of videos and photos from the Queen's archive, and this project is meant to take us on a journey through Red Velvet's career from 2014 up until now. The project is gonna end on the 1st of August in conjunction with the 7th anniversary of the group's debut, and
cool.
according to the statement that they released, this event is meant to lead up to the first comeback as 5 members since the last installment of the Reef Festival. In order to hype up the album that is gonna be released in August, Red Velvet started their journey through memory with a video for something kinda crazy, and right off the bat, this is very fitting because that is a song that was first featured as a B-side in their debut mini-album Ice Cream Cake. As we see in a second, the video is full of references to that era. We see the return of the white cat that first appeared in Ice Cream Cake, and the door handle seems to be a callback to the cake that we see in the opening of that video, and this is very interesting because Ice Cream Cake was also the video that introduced Yeri to the public.
Oh, right,
If that song marked the beginning
did
of
see
Red
that one.
Velvet as a 5-member group, something kinda crazy seems to be referencing that era to foreshadow a new beginning where the girls are united once again, and this idea is reinforced by other clues as well. You see, even if the Queen's Mystic General Store is a shop that sells vintage items, the Instagram post associated to this project also tells us that this is a store where you can find the new you. And this means that by reconnecting with the past, Red Velvet are leading us towards a new era where they're gonna show us a version of themselves that we never saw before. When it comes to the actual concept that they might follow, however, we need to dig a bit deeper, because in the video we see some clues that might foreshadow a concept revolving around stars, unity, and multiple dimensions. At the beginning, for instance, we see the girls entering the shop through the door. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the handle of the entrance has a similar shape to the cake that we saw back in Ice Cream Cake, but on the slices we also see some symbols associated to specific colors and zodiac signs.
Oh,
Now, when
yep,
it comes to
there's
the
Leo.
colors that they
The
used,
green,
my
that's
guess
me.
is that 5 slices are meant to represent the members, while the last one is meant to be a symbol for revelers. As we see in the video itself, when the members enter the shop, each of them are associated to a specific color that recalls the official ones that they've been assigned to since the beginning. Joy is green, Sulgi is yellow, Wendy is blue, Yeri is purple, and Irene is pink, which in the handle is represented as a shade of red. The orange color, on the other hand, might actually be a reference to Revelers, because the official color of the fandom is coral, and coral is a shade of orange. When it comes to the zodiac signs, however, things get a bit more tricky, because in the video the signs are not in order and are not related to the members' birthdays.
Gotcha.
The fact that the arrow points at the Gemini, however, is interesting in and of itself, because the Gemini is a sign that symbolizes both duality as well as an unbreakable bond. Since Red Velvet are known for their dual concepts, and this is a project that anticipates their reunion, the focus on the Gemini may be a way to foreshadow a concept that will focus on their unity as well as the love that they share with each other and with Revelers, and this idea might be reinforced by something kinda crazy as well. You see, back in that song, the girls talked about a shining star who fell on Earth and found love in an unexpected place. In the lyrics, the members told us that this love was almost meant to be, because despite all the strangers in the universe, the lovers in the song managed to meet and fall in love nonetheless. Now, if you consider this song in the context of the Queen's archive, this might be a way to celebrate the connection that they share and the love that was created as a result of this unity. And this concept is also reinforced with the reference to ice cream cake, because back in that song, the ice cream cake was an object that celebrated the first day of a magical love. As I mentioned earlier, however, that song was also referenced with the appearance of the white cat, and this is a creature that is featured in the logo of the shop and that we see moving through different dimensions via portals in the store. Now, if
cool.
you consider the magical concept that we saw in many of Red Velvet's
I need to watch all
videos,
of
the
these.
fact that the cat has magical
Rewatch
abilities
Psycho.
is actually very fitting, because in their stories the members are witches, and witches often have a cat familiar. Since SM is in the process of building a multiverse, however, the fact that this cat is able to move through dimensions with portals might actually be a reference to the shared storyline which Red Velvet will be a part of. Back when Irene and Sulgi debuted, for instance, we already saw that the girls are connected to Espa's Black Mamba, which is a malevolent entity that hacked the system and caused Espa and the avatars to disconnect. In Nosy, moreover, we also saw the girls walk into Kwangia, which is the reality where the Black Mamba comes from, and that so far has been referenced in Espa, in Kai, in NCT, in EXO, and Kanta. If the cat's abilities are related to the members being able to reach Kwangia, this might imply that in the comeback, the story might give us more information about Red Velvet's role in the multiverse, but to know how things will play out, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!
Okay, now for Queendom. Again, haven't seen this one, I don't believe.
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about Red Velvet's Queendom, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of both the lyrics and the music video. Queendom is a song that deals with the themes of empowerment, confidence, and unity. Now, since this is Red Velvet's first comeback as 5 members in quite a while, we can say that the song has a double message that expresses the overall concept of the album as a whole. If on one hand, Queendom is meant to convey the idea that all of us can become queens and kings of our life, on the other, the song also highlights the importance of unity as a medium through which people can shine brighter and more beautifully. According to the press release, this comeback is meant to express an empowering message that Red Velvet hope to deliver to their audience, and in the video deliver indeed they do, because this time around the story shows us the girls working in an underground delivery center that sends out boxes full of magical items.
Oh, cool.
This is a very creative way to convey the idea that Red Velvet are literally sending out their magical energy in order to spread the positivity that the song is all about, and as we'll see in a second, the recipient of this present is none other than us. At the beginning, for instance, the video shows us an earbud dropping in a manhole that gives us access to a magical world that is hidden underground. Now, since the earbud is an object that is associated to sound, in this context we can say that the earbud represents the audience who is able to enter Red Velvet's magical world with the power of their music. As the song itself tells us, this is a dreamlike wonderland that exists beyond distant memories, and in this magical place, Red Velvet are the queens that live in their red castle. Now, right off the bat, this is very interesting because what these lines are telling us here is that the concept of the video as a whole has been heavily inspired by Alice in Wonderland. Like Alice falls into the rabbit hole and ends up in a dream world where she meets incredible characters in a colorful setting, the audience falls into the manhole and gains access to the dream that Red Velvet are sharing with their revelers. If in Wonderland the Queen of Hearts was the antagonist, however, in the Queendom the girls are good witches that welcome their guests into their world and spread their positive message to those who enter into their castle. As we see in the video, for instance, where the girls are shown having a tea party in a field, the Red Velvet are friendly like the characters that invite Alice to the tea party that takes place in the story. Like the Mad Hatter that goes invite us to their carnival, and like Alice, we smile bright like a child because this is a familiar world that has finally come back. As it was already foreshadowed in the Queen's archive, the world that Red Velvet are sharing with us is a distant memory that is now becoming real once again. As they said themselves in the press release, Queendom represents a moment of their life where the girls feel like they're debuting for the second time. It's a new beginning that is reconnecting us with the past in order to move on in the future. So in the song, the girls want to have a festival because Queendom is a track that celebrates the reunion as well as the magic that this reunion is reawakening. Back in the Queen's archive, for instance, the promotion started with a lot of references to the ice cream cake era. The project began with a release from their album, then the cake appeared in Yeri's solo, and the white cat was a major aspect of the story as a whole. All these callbacks here are meant to reference the first video where Red Velvet became the 5-member group that we know today, and since Queendom represents a new beginning, the video shows Yeri being introduced to the magic like ice cream cake introduced Yeri to us. At the beginning, for instance, the video shows us the girls working in a delivery center where all of them have a specific role. Sulgi is the lost and found mail carrier, Wendy is the postmistress, Joy is the delivery driver, and Irene is the distribution director. Now, the very first detail that we can notice here is that in this context, Irene also dies like the white cat that led us through the Queen's archive. As it turns out, however, she's not the only cat of the story, because when we see Yeri approaching the entrance, we see that her steps leave cat prints on the floor. Now, these visuals here imply that the white cat can be seen as a figure that embodies the magical power that the Queendom represents. If Irene is the director and her magic is more evident, in the story Yeri is a trainee witch, so her power is still to be tested and is more subtle because of that. Since in the Queen's archive the cat led the girls to access their personal wonderland, we can say that this entity might embody their inner witch that is trying to come out by reconnecting with the past, and this idea is also reinforced by the solos, because back then each of them was associated to the cat one way or another. In I Just, for instance, the cat appeared on the Queen's card behind Wendy. In Perfect 10, Irene had a tail and eyes that changed color. In Talk to Me, the cat destroyed the cake that Yeri was baking. In Bad Dracula, Joy had the odd eyes and literally transformed into the cat right at the end. And in So Good, the video showed a Sulgi's shadow going from human to cat. These visuals here imply that the cat can be seen as the physical embodiment of their magic. It represents them embracing the power that allows them to become the queens that they are, so in the story Yeri has to channel her magic and prove herself to join the queendom. As the lyrics tell us, the queens are people who don't need a crown but are born to dazzle. They are those who live life according to their own rules, they create their own standards and follow a paradigm that they created for themselves. And in the video we see that Yeri has no problem adapting to this queendom because she's just as powerful as the others. What's even more important, however, is that just like in the past, Yeri's addition to the group is what makes Red Velvet finally complete, because even if all of them have a unique color to them, when they are united, they create a new color that is called Together.
Oh, I love
this
that.
This is a color that
line.
allows the rainbow to be finally complete, and this imagery is very important because by completing the rainbow, Red Velvet are able to shine on other people even when it rains. The magic that makes their queendom so powerful lies in their unity, and through this unity the girls are able to spread their positive message to others as well. They can be a light in the darkness, a source of encouragement, and help people to embrace their own beauty and power like they already learned to do. So in the song, the girls invite you to this celebration, because if all of us unite, we can empower each other in this queendom. In this festival, all of us are queens and kings. We can be in control of our life, spread our wings, and be ourselves no matter who we are. As the song tells us, the more we gather, the more beautiful it gets, and this is because true power lies in unity. This is a message that doesn't apply just to Red Velvet, but to everyone in the world. So at the end, the girls invite us to join our hands, because this queendom is defined by unity, acceptance, and positivity. So that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Okay, well that was all very cool. I was looking and I couldn't find just kind of a video about their lore, and these didn't really get into their earlier stuff. So it was really cool that they talked about Psycho and then brought it back to the Reeve Festival and stuff. But yeah, if you guys know of anything of kind of debut until the Reeve Festival type of lore, I'd love to learn that. I mean, she touched on a little bit of it, but not kind of the whole thing. So, but that was super interesting. I'm excited to watch the rest of these. I think it brings it up. Did they do Chill Kill? Hold on. Hold on. I'm trying to find my thing that I had. Red Velvet, where are you? Yeah, it does go through Chill Kill. So that's good. That'll give a little bit more info. So yeah, it does Feel My Rhythm, Wild Side, Sulkies, 28 Reasons, and then Chill Kill. So yeah, if you guys know of any videos that are like kind of outside of that, and definitely something before Psycho and the Reef Festival, let me know because I'm super interested. So I think it's cool that there's a storyline. I like that SM is like encompassing a bunch of their groups into one, so that's really cool. I watched the Espa one not too long ago, so yeah, that's really, I didn't realize that they were like interconnected like that. So anyway, thank you guys so much as always for coming over here, supporting us on Patreon. It truly means the world to me, and I couldn't do any of this without you. So thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed. Love you. See you next time.